All right, everyone, get your head in the game because we are serving up a deep dive into the mental side of pro tennis.
Love it.
We're cracking open AO 2024 to see what we can learn from this year's tournament
Yeah.
about how these players deal with the pressure cooker of high expectations.
It's funny because when you think about those top-ranked players,
Yeah.
you'd think they'd be brimming with confidence, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But actually, there's this whole other side to it
Why?
where the pressure of being the favorite, of having that top seed,
Yeah.
can really backfire. Like this fear of becoming,
Oh, totally. The dreaded choke.
exactly, the choke artist. That label.
Oh, I bet.
And it's interesting because AO 2024 really gets into
It does.
how that fear can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, especially early in a tournament.
For sure. Because it's like the more you focus on not messing up, on not becoming that choke artist, the more you psych yourself out.
Exactly. You're not playing your game. You're playing this
Right.
mental battle against yourself.
Totally. And AO 2024 really captures how intense that can get for these players. Like those quotes about feeling overwhelmed and just like inundated with negativity.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough.
It's this vicious cycle. The pressure creates doubt. The doubt affects your game. And then, boom, you're more likely to actually make those mistakes.
And then the cycle continues, right?
Exactly.
Then it's like, oh, no, here we go again. And you just can't escape it.
And it makes you wonder, how do these players who consistently perform at such a high level,
I know, right?
how do they manage it?
And that actually is a perfect transition because one of the things that I found so interesting in AO 2024 was the section on Iga Swiatek.
Yeah, she's fascinating.
Because talk about a dominant player.
Absolutely.
She's incredible to watch. But even she had that surprising loss at the Australian Open this year.
Right, which really shows that even the best
Even best.
are not immune to these pressures.
Exactly. And I thought it was really interesting how the source highlighted her response to that loss. They talked about how she uses these really specific mental techniques.
Yes. Visualization, mindfulness exercises.
Like things that you might not even think about.
You wouldn't necessarily associate with someone at the very, very top of their game.
Exactly. Like you think, oh, she's just naturally gifted. But it's like, no, she puts in the mental work too, which I think is a really, really important point.
Absolutely. It shows that mental resilience is a skill that can be developed and honed, just like your forehand or your backhand.
Yes. And that it's something that you have to actively work on no matter what your skill level is.
Right. It's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process.
And I think that's something that's really relevant to all of us, right? Like, we all face setbacks in our lives.
Absolutely.
It's not about avoiding them. It's about how you bounce back. And speaking of bouncing back, another thing I wanted to touch on from AO 2024 was that idea of the mental scorecard.
Oh, I love that concept.
I know. I'd never thought about it that way before. So for anyone who hasn't read the source yet, basically it's this idea that after each match, instead of just evaluating your serve, your volleys, your backhand,
Your technique.
yeah, the technical stuff.
You rate your mental game as well.
Exactly. Like, how is your confidence level? Were you able to stay focused under pressure? Did you let your emotions get the better of you?
It adds a whole other dimension to the analysis, doesn't it?
Right. And I think it's so valuable because, it's easy to get caught up in the technical aspects of performance.
Oh, absolutely.
But this really brings that mental component to the forefront.
And it makes you more aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It forces you to be honest with yourself, which is sometimes the hardest part.
Definitely. And what I like is that the source actually gives you a practical way to do this. Like, they suggest rating both your technical and mental game on a scale of 1 to 10 after each match.
Well, that's smart.
So you're actually quantifying it, which I think can be really helpful.
I agree, because it gives you something concrete to work with, right?
Exactly. And it allows you to track your progress over time.
Yeah. Like, are you actually improving in those areas where you identified weaknesses? It makes so much sense. Because then it's not just, oh, I need to work on my mental game. It's like, okay, my focus was a 4 out of 10 that last match. What can I do to make it a 6 next time?
Exactly. And that's how you make real progress.
So smart. And AO 2024 gives some really great examples of the kind of constructive feedback you can give yourself.
Yeah, like recognizing when your confidence was off or if you let your emotions get the best of you.
It's so true. Those are such important insights, but they can be hard to pinpoint if you're not actively looking for them.
Definitely. And what's so powerful about this whole mental scorecard concept?
I know, I'm obsessed with it.
It's brilliant. And what's so powerful about it is that it applies to so much more than just tennis.
Oh, 100%.
Because in any field, in any aspect of life, being able to analyze your setbacks objectively
Yes.
and extract those mental lessons, that's crucial for growth.
Absolutely. It's like that saying, you either win or you learn. But you only really learn if you're willing to take the time to reflect and be honest with yourself about what went wrong, especially on that mental level.
Couldn't agree more.
And I think, as we wrap up here, one of the biggest takeaways for me from this whole deep dive into AO 2024 is that if these professional athletes at the very, very top of their game are still struggling with the mental side of competition,
Yeah.
what does that say about the importance of mental strength in all of our lives?
It's essential.
Right. Like, it's not just about talent or skill. It's about having that mental fortitude, that resilience, that ability to bounce back from setbacks.
It's about mastering your mindset.
Exactly. So as you go about your day, whatever challenges you're facing, think about these tennis pros. Think about the pressure they're under, the mental tools they use to stay at the top of their game. And ask yourself, how can I apply these same strategies to my own life? How can I strengthen my mental game and reach my full potential?
Love that. Food for thought.
It really is.